President Cyril Ramaphosa is on a working visit to Zimbabwe. Ramaphosa has attended the country's 111th agricultural show as the guest of honor. He called for deeper cooperation between South Africa and Zimbabwe on biosecurity and agricultural trade. Ramaphosa also expressed hope for increased collaboration and investment by private sectors from both nations. Let's talk to political analyst Dr. André Duvenhage about this. Prof, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and a very good evening to you. What do you make about this working visit that the president has made to our neighboring country? Because there has been some criticism of it, and I will get to that. But firstly, I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Good evening, Masa, and the viewers. My take on it is it's a very interesting visit at a very interesting time. And at the same time, the president is very positive about the land reform that took place in Zimbabwe since the late 90s. And we know what was the nature and the outcome of that land reform, basically destroying the Zimbabwe economy completely. But this is telling me a lot about South Africa's alignment internationally. Recently, we have seen a South African general in Iran. Now we have seen Mr. Ramaphosa going to Zimbabwe. It seems as if the South African government is positioning itself with a certain category of states in the world. And at the same time, we know there's a lot of dynamics playing itself out within South Africa, referring to the government of national unity, the whole reset that some are talking about. And we know that the ANC is in close cooperation with the so-called freedom movements in Southern Africa, ZANU-PF, Frelimo, and others. So in that sense, it's a very interesting development, but it is signaling to me the political position of the ANC in general, and in particular, Mr. Ramaphosa.
You know, as you're saying, interesting visit at an interesting time. Others have criticized it as calling it basically out of touch when we're looking at the protests, particularly in the health sector that have been taking place, where there's been this friction caused between South African nationals and undocumented foreign nationals, particularly from countries like Zimbabwe as well. And then to have the president having a meeting with the head of state of Zimbabwe and not necessarily delving on the challenges that are causing this influx of people who need these services in South Africa, but again, rather than calling it out, congratulating the president of Zimbabwe.
Yes, Basa, we don't know precisely what is on the agenda and what is the president only presenting to the media. But I agree completely in terms of the presentation. We have seen, and I've read it also, it is absolutely clear that the core issue at the moment between South Africa and Zimbabwe is illegal immigrants. And some people are measuring it and maybe even more than that, only coming from a country like Zimbabwe. And we have seen the internal reaction coming from South Africans. The Dudula movement is only one to mention. We know that there's little or no border control between South Africa and Zimbabwe at the moment. And I believe this is a very critical issue because as a result of the land reform, the Zimbabwe economy has completely collapsed. And now the president, South African president, is congratulating the Zimbabwe president, Mnangagwa, on what they achieve in terms of land reform, and then ask for private to invest in the economy and specifically the agricultural economy. It seems to me very much contradictory, and I agree that it seems, at least from the outside, that he is out of touch in terms of what is going on at the grassroots level.
Just lastly, Prof, you know, when we're speaking about being out of touch as well, you've mentioned, you know, civil organizations like Operation Dudula, March on March, and other interested organizations in the matter when it comes to undocumented or illegal foreign nationals in the country. This quote from the president saying, I leave Zimbabwe having learned a great deal about agriculture. These are the types of learnings that we can copy in South Africa. I am truly honored to have come here. When you think about those who are part of those organizations and those who may not be part of those organizations, but may be disgruntled when it comes to the situation, when it comes to illegal foreign nationals, how are they supposed to take that kind of quote from the president?
Well, to take extremely, we must into consideration for the last decade or more, the South African growth rate was around 1%, in some cases below 1%. We know that our unemployment rate is close to 40%, depending on which definition you are using. And we know that the role model and the lessons coming from Zimbabwe is to do absolutely the opposite from what they did. So unfortunately, I think Mr. Ramaphosa is analyzing the situation completely wrong. And in a way, I can understand the reaction in South Africa against the president, because at the moment he is talking and presenting the wrong things and not the type of solutions South Africans would like to see in an environment that is becoming more and more challenging politically, economically, and socially.
Prof, thank you so much for your insights and your time this evening. Really appreciate it. That was, of course, political analyst Dr. André Duvenhage.